you all please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you join me as we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We just pray that in this meeting tonight that we seek your guidance and look for your wisdom and all the things that we discuss and do. That it will be for the betterment of our community, our schools, and our students. In Jesus' name, amen. The meeting is called to order at 7:36. First, we have the recognition of the students of the month.
Yeah, well, we just go right in order and start with elementary school.
So last month, one of our students of the month could not attend the meeting, and so we're going to officially recognize her tonight because she is here. And that student is Avery Michael. So Avery Michael, if you want to come up here. So this is Avery, and I'm going to read what Avery's teacher, Mrs. Buskirk, said about her. And Mrs. Buskirk said that Avery has practiced a growth mindset on her multiplication times test. We talk about making progress, not perfection. If they finish 4 rows for the first time, they make a goal to get 6 rows the next day. If they keep making progress, they will end up passing the level. Avery understands that if she practices her multiplication facts each night, she can easily make progress towards passing the level. She passed her 5s one day and started on 6 the next day. Avery got a few rows completed on her first attempt. She told me that she had made a goal for the next day and would study that night. The next day, Avery surpassed her goal. She passed the test on her 3rd attempt. Avery is doing a great job with the power of yet. She knows that if she sets goals and keeps trying, she will meet her goals. Congratulations, Avery. Alright, so now I'll introduce our October students of the month. And we have Sammy Michael. Sammy, if you want to stand. That's Sammy Michael, and then Bailey Dixon. Bailey, if you want to stand. Good job. Okay, you guys can be seated. And I'll start by reading some information about Sammy. So Sammy's teacher, Mrs. Davis, said that Sammy is always doing the right thing. He comes to class every day with a positive attitude. Sammy does his best on all of his work and asks good questions, which helps others learn. He is a good friend to everyone, and you can always count on Sammy. So congratulations to Sammy. And Bailey, do you want to come up here? All right, I asked Bailey if she would sing for us tonight, but she wasn't interested. All right, so Bailey Dixon is our other student of the month, and her teacher, Mrs. Roberts, said that Bailey is always on task, participates in class, and her work is completed and turned in on time. Bailey is a caring student who cares for her classmates and is always willing to lend a hand to the teachers or a friend in need. So congratulations to Bailey. All right, so congrats to Bailey and Sammy, our October students of the month at the elementary. And then tonight I'm going to read the students of the month for the middle school. Mr. Alt couldn't be here tonight, and so I'll try to read this as best I can without my glasses. Micaiah McGruder is the 7th grade student of the month at the middle school. Did I say that? Okay. Do you want to stand or do you want to come up here? Here, okay. All right. So congratulations to Micaiah Gruder. The 7th grade teachers said that they've nominated Micaiah for September Student of the Month because Micaiah has worked very hard this year in our classes. She is a well-behaved, polite young lady who participates in class and does her homework on time. She gets along well with her fellow classmates. One specific situation stood out to us recently. Micaiah found approximately $30 lying in the gym and brought it to a teacher to turn in. Her honesty and respect for others' property really impressed us. We are proud of Micaiah for being a great Thunderbird. Congratulations. Okay, the other student of the month for the middle school is Caleb Rippey. If Caleb would stand or come up here. So congratulations to Caleb. This young man is a wonderful role model to his peers. He is attentive in his work, participates in class, and often pulls out a book to read quietly when his work is done. I not only have Caleb for math, but I also have him at the end of the day for an elective class. Kids come into the elective class, grab a computer, log in, and then go to various websites to complete their work. Every week, Caleb has gotten up out of his seat to help a struggling student sitting near him. Caleb can be seen showing the student where to find his login information or directing him to the appropriate sites. Never does Caleb seem to be bothered by this. He is patient and interacts with him in such a caring and compassionate way. I'm so thankful to have Caleb as part of my class this year. Congratulations, Caleb.
And middle school students, we'll get you your certificates tomorrow. Check in with Mr. All. He wasn't available for me to, actually I didn't have the certificates ready for him to sign when he came to see me today. So he'll get it signed and get your certificates tomorrow.
All right, good evening. Tonight I'd like to recognize two of the high school students. Both have glowing accolades from their teachers. I'd like to start with Peyton Foster. We had several teachers email us about Peyton, and I'm going to go over a few of the things that have been said about him. Mrs. Bellman said he's in her homeroom. He is always on time, and he always says hello and asks how her day is going. He always cleans up after himself and others after breakfast. And she even commented that he is one of her highlights in the morning, which is fantastic. Mrs. Martindale also says that Peyton is an excellent student. He participates, he asks questions, and he even helps his peers. Peyton's attitude and effort are so encouraging to see in class. Peyton has been a huge help to me by having a positive attitude and being a role model and leader for his peers with his behavior and motivation. I genuinely enjoy having him in class. And then last but not least, I wanted to kind of mention a little bit about what Mr. Bruce says about him. He is one of the most responsible kids that he has on the football team, always with a positive yes sir attitude. He always stays after and helps with equipment cleanup and helping the managers. One of the things that I find really awesome about Peyton is his resiliency. Last year, I don't want to embarrass you, but he wasn't the best student, kind of struggled with some of the stuff that we had to deal with. And to his credit, he's really worked hard this year. He's really turned things around, complete 180. He's now greatly improved with mostly A's and B's. So really do appreciate all the work that Peyton's put forward. The second student that we would like to recognize is Miss Samantha Deckard. And like Peyton, she had several responses from the teachers about why she is the perfect student of the month. Miss Black says that Sammy is so sweet and always willing helper with a kind word. She is someone I can trust to work with anybody because she is so respectful and thoughtful to all. Mrs. Provost says Samantha does a good job of paying attention in class, is very considerate and helpful. In class, I never have to tell her to be on task. She's respectful to Mrs. Provost and other students. She volunteers to help other students, especially when it comes to food labs. She's a genuinely nice person and a pleasure to have in class. And then Samantha is also a cadet in the office, and I have to say that Samantha is a great cadet. She uses that servant mentality in helping the students to also help others in the office. And so she's always willing to help new students find their way around, and she takes pride in the work that she accomplishes. And I really appreciate her because she helps keep me organized, right? So we've already had struggles with the laminator and the copier and all those things. So I really appreciate her helping me out. So.
Okay, participation at school board meetings. The board recognized the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express concerns regarding agenda items. Comments will be limited to board meeting agenda items with a time limit of 3 to 5 minutes. Does anybody have a comment on any board agenda items? Okay.
Yeah, I got one. My name is Matt Patterson. I have a few questions. We called in about some agenda items that got no response on whether they were or weren't going to be put on the agenda. 2 meetings ago, we were told that the COVID policy would be brought up monthly. Would like to our questions of why it hasn't been put on the agenda for this month. Was sent in some emails that weren't answered. The other question I have is the first responder flag that was taken from the football boys, said they couldn't carry it out. Why is that? Who made that decision?
Well,
If I could get some answers on that in a timely manner, I'd appreciate it.
okay, thank you. All right, adoption of the agenda. It's recommended that the agenda for the October 18th, 2021 meeting be approved as presented with additions, corrections, or deletions as recommended by the board.
I have a motion to answer his questions. As an elected nonpartisan board member, I feel we have made a commitment to this community to listen and address the concerns of our students and their parents. It is our obligation to do so. If we don't listen and hear them, we're failing to do our job as elected. And I think we're obligated. And I don't know why, if they requested to be on agenda, why it wasn't on the agenda. That's the motion.
What in particular is the motion?
To answer his questions.
Well, we have to take action on something. I mean, there has to be an action, not just answering questions, either a motion to vote on.
Okay, a motion to vote on, we answer his questions that he asked.
Mr. Vogel, I couldn't hear you.
Same thing.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
I'm not sure how to write. So a motion to,
Answer the question for the participating community member.
so make a motion to put the, you want to make a motion to put the COVID policy on the agenda?
Yes.
Is that what you want?
That'd be good.
Okay. We can put that after the,
Needs to be voted on.
I'm looking for the appropriate place to be under corporation, would be the appropriate place to write that in. So it will be item number 10-18-4270-2. Motion to
Add COVID policy to the agenda.
add COVID policy to the agenda.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
what specifically about the COVID policy?
I don't know.
Mike?
Where it stands and what our future plans are.
I believe Trent has an update.
I was gonna say, can we just wait and hear Trent's update?
We have to vote on, we have to take the motion.
Okay.
Either it gets a second or it doesn't get a second. If it gets a second, then we vote. If it doesn't get a second, then it does not, does not call for a vote.
I got a question, I don't know.
That-
If somebody brings up COVID, like one of the board members or Mr. Cobo brings up COVID, then is that not, can that not be talked about then?
It has to be on the agenda
Okay.
as an item.
So is your update on the agenda somewhere? Because I'm sorry I missed it if it was.
Discussion at the
Superintendent's
end.
updates are usually at the end of the, superintendent discussion or updates are usually at the end of the meeting.
Okay, that's why I asked that question, because it wasn't on the agenda, and we didn't get an answer from our email of whether it would be put on the agenda, and then about the flag, I was just curious about that. I mean, why that was a.
I feel like those are issues that should be answered individually, but Mr. Adams has made the motion to, I don't know what you want me to,
You gotta get a second on what.
well, no, I mean, as far as the flag,
Well, that's another issue.
I don't know what you, I don't know.
I got another motion coming, so.
Okay. Just so everyone's clear, any board member can make a motion at any point throughout the meeting to add any item. Okay? So as we're voting, a board member can say, I want to make the motion to add this and this and this. Okay, but it has to be clear what they're asking for so that it can be either voted yes or no. Okay. Adoption of the agenda. It's recommended that the agenda for the October 18, 2021 meeting be approved as presented with additions, corrections, or deletions as recommended by the board. Do I have a motion?
Mike, you said you had another motion, or another
I'll
item you were going to.
put it in there later.
Would this be the place
Well,
to
now,
change it though?
We need to do that now before we adopt the agenda.
I,
I think the best place.
I have another motion.
Okay.
And it's, I'd like to make a motion to revisit the football team carrying out the first responders flag. The flag represents all the civil servants of our community who put their lives on the line every day to ensure our safety of every person in this community. I believe it's absolute travesty to deny these students the ability to honor those individuals. This should not be a controversial subject. This flag should not offend anyone, like other flags. It does not represent a certain organization, race, or religion. It simply represents civil servants that are willing to risk their lives for everyone in this room. Shame on anyone that sees it differently. I wasn't sure. Go ahead, I'm done.
So
Now I asked this, let me clarify this. I asked that this be put on the agenda and Mr. Roberts denied it.
motion to approve the use of first responder flag by football team. So that's 10-18-4270-3.
So you don't have to revisit this, should you make it all athletics or all extracurricular things?
At the time, the motion stands as it is.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, the adoption of the agenda? Scott Carmichael, second by Ron Childress. All those in favor? Passed 7-0. Approval of minutes. It's recommended that the minutes from the September 13th, 2021 meeting be approved as presented. Do I have a motion? Martha Marmazet, second by Ron Childress. All those in favor? Passed 7-0. Approval of claims. It's recommended that claims numbers 14001 through
It's 14098, sorry.
14098 be approved as presented. I have a motion, Scott Carmichael. Ron Childress. All those in favor? Passed 7-0. Have trouble seeing everybody. Thank you. Ready for me? Yes.
Okay. Tonight is when I'm recommending to the board that we approve the 2022 budgets and resolutions as presented. I talked a little bit about the budget at the hearing we had last month. I'm going to go over a little bit about the resolutions that I'm recommending and that the board, if approved, will sign later on tonight after the meeting. These are all just standard resolutions that get presented and signed every year. So we have a rainy day transfer resolution. Every year, if we can, we try to put money into our rainy day fund. It's basically our savings for exactly what it stands for, the rainy day. So if we can, at the end of this school year, we're gonna transfer $500,000 into rainy day out of operations. Once again, that's if we have that much remaining in our balance at that time. So there's that resolution. We have a new resolution this year that's kind of come about from the Department of Local Government Finance. It's called the Board of Trustees Resolution Authorizing Tax Anticipation Warrants for 2022. Basically, that is just about if temporary loans are needed to be made, the board has the authority to do that. We do not see the need to take out any type of temporary loan at this time. So that's that resolution. We also had to put in an amount of $15,000 that is used to repay interest due on all tax anticipation warrants for the 2022 budget year. So there is some debt that we have from previous construction and things like that. So that money is used to pay any interest. Then we have a resolution that allows the treasurer to make transfers within funds and also between funds and within minor categories, and to transfer among major categories to allow for the flow of expenditures. And then we have a resolution that is for the budget hearing. Basically says that they give me the authorization to make any changements and adjustments or reductions necessary to any of these lines of the budget to make sure that we're solvent. And then we have a resolution allowing to transfer amounts from education fund to the operations fund. We do have some expenses in operations that actually get transferred out of education, and we're allowed to do that. So this resolution allows us to transfer an amount not to exceed $1,120,200 from the education fund to the operations fund. And that is all of the resolutions. So at this time, I am recommending to the board that we adopt the 2022 budget and resolutions as presented.
Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion? Heather Hudson, second by Scott Carmichael. All those in favor? Passed 7-0.
Next up, I'm making the recommendation that we enter into a contract with Frontline Education Software. It's a recommendation to purchase this software package to aid in payroll, timekeeping, and processing as presented. Mariah Crane, right there, studying in from Maryland tonight. She's used this software before in a previous position. I've used it in a previous position also. It's wonderful software. It basically helps us with absence management of employees, helps us with their time management of our hourly employees. Instead of doing, manual time cards, it's more of a clock-in system. It all gets added up for Mariah instead of her pouring over manual time cards consistently. And it's also going to help us with our hiring, because now there's going to be an online component to our hiring. People can go online, see our jobs that we have open, apply for those jobs, and then even when we hire them, all of our forms will be digitized, and they can fill out all of our forms, and it's held in a central digitized location. So went over the board, the cost of all that during executive session, and it's my recommendation to purchase that software.
Do I have a motion? Childress, second. Martha Monday. All those in favor? Passed 7-0. Okay, now we have this one, because we added it in corporation.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything about that, or you just want us to go ahead and take a second?
I had planned on making an update during discussion at the end on kind of where we were with our COVID numbers and where we are with the policy at this point, so.
Okay. So now we have the first of the added motions, 10-18-4 to 70-2, motion to add COVID policy to the agenda. I have a first by Mike Adams. I have a second for that motion. Okay, motion will not be voted on. I will say one thing is that if there's not going to be any change to the COVID policy, then there's nothing to vote on.
There's people who won't hear.
So, and there's going to be an update at the end by the superintendent about what our numbers are and possible changes in the future. Okay? All right. Next one, 10-18-
They cannot, if you've not got it on the agenda, then they cannot publicly speak about it. So you won't know if there's any questions because emails are not getting responded to by your administration.
If an email asks for, okay, the emails that I have personally seen have asked us if we will put it on the agenda. Those are the only ones I've seen. There haven't been any other actual questions about what the policy is going to be, just will we put it on the agenda?
Did you respond?
So common sense would say,
There is no, if we're not changing anything,
Did you respond?
a simple, no, we're not putting on the agenda, there'll be an update at the end of the meeting, would have stopped me from having to ask that question, because I know it would have been at the end of the meeting, because it's not on the agenda.
It's a respect thing.
Just a simple, no, we're not putting it on there, we'll have something at the end of the meeting, that will give you an update. We would have known where it was at. But no response is unacceptable.
Can I address that real quick?
Absolutely.
I don't check my personal emails during the workday. At the end of my workday today, I came up here immediately following. So I haven't seen and had an opportunity to address and respond to your emails.
I've sent it to you.
They weren't all today.
It was,
Lots of emails
Several
across
weeks.
a lot of time,
Several weeks.
not just today.
And Mr. Provost spoke to my husband today and didn't say a word about he was going to update us in this meeting. So I think it wasn't really planned until Heather brought it up. and then
You gotta
it was-
represent your community, people. Come on, we voted you to represent the community.
I want to go ahead and finish what I'm trying to get at is, if we wait till the end, Matt, and we don't respond, if they don't know that they're going to get that chance, they can't respond at the beginning with their questions until he brings it up because it's not on the agenda.
If-
So it needs to be somewhere where.
Your process excludes any kind of discussion.
if we are going to make changes, they will be voted on in a public meeting to where the public can make comments on it. Okay?
So 6 to 1, we have no-
and I want to answer Ron. We didn't send you one because we were told we had to send it to Matt and Trent, so you wouldn't have had one from us to get. So absolutely no, you didn't, it wasn't you. It was sent to Matt and Trent because that's who we were told that's who sets the agenda.
Fair enough. Sorry. All right. 10-18-4270-3, motion to approve the use of the first responder flag by the football team. Have a first by Mike Adams. I do have a question before I get a second. So, Mr. Provo, am I correct in when I say that the football team was allowed to carry a flag at the last game, but had a green stripe, a red stripe, and a blue stripe on it?
The last game, this past Friday, I saw the American flag and the MIA POW flag.
Okay, and the game before, did they
I
have?
wasn't there for that one, so I'm not sure.
I was.
They had the red, the green, and the blue one, the game before?
They had a first responders.
No, they didn't.
We had all the armed forces on it, all six of
It was
them.
only military.
Okay.
The last home game before this past one, they did have it. And that's when it was told, no more.
Can we get an answer? Why? Oh, you have to vote to answer.
We're gonna vote.
Okay.
We're gonna vote. Do I have a second? Now.
What exactly are we voting on?
I have another question.
Yeah.
There are thousands of first responder flags in different versions that can be purchased. I looked at them on the internet of all the different ones. There are ones that list all of them: EMT, fire, police. I think they're Army, Marines.
Army and Marines are first responders. There's corrections, EMS, fire, and police.
I thought I saw one with 5 or 6. But anyway,
I've got one with military.
I don't think, if that's what we're voting on, see, I need to be clear on what you mean. Because if we're voting on allowing them to use a flag at the football game that has all of those things on it, then that's different than that reframes the vote. Okay, is that?
remove it? No.
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 So
I think there's a
so I'm
communication that
asking,
lets you guys down.
I'm
The
asking.
standard flag that's used, it has the EMS, fire, police, and military. I believe that's correct.
So
One
that,
everybody uses
so that's
green,
the,
red, and blue line.
right,
That's
but
pretty typical, everybody knows what those colors mean, I'm pretty sure.
there are other flags that
Those are
represent
an
more
American
units.
flag that had a green, a red, and a blue line. We all know what that stands for. I'm pretty sure of it. And that was the one who said,
But the specific flag that we're talking about is one that we've flown many, many times.
it's been
So
there
it's
for.
the specific flag that Eastern's flown, carried out.
It was told,
Okay. I just want to make sure that I knew what Mr. Adams was wanting before we voted. So some form of first responder flag is what we are voting on.
What are we voting on?
Whether the football team is allowed to use a form of the first responder flag.
Whether they're allowed to or.
Whether they're allowed to
My
carry it in
question-
before a game.
I think
Mike can discuss it.
we're sitting in a really slippery precedent here, because then you're gonna be voting on
Yeah.
any flag that, yeah.
That's my concern.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not asking for a vote to.
Yeah, can I just address something that we need to look into, okay?
Yeah.
The Equal Access Act of 1984 addresses clubs, flags, things of that nature, that we don't necessarily know what the real regulations are. Give us a little time, since this has just been brought up, to do that research.
It wasn't,
Because,
he just confronted it to his emails, so he knew about it.
I understand, but at the same time, we need to be able to ask our lawyers and those who have knowledge about this as to what we can do, because we don't want to set a precedent that leads us down a wrong path, while at the same time, I support all the first responders as well. But at the same time, this opens the door for some other equal access opportunities that we may not, as a community, want to approve. But we don't know that yet until we find out what's the Equal Access Act allows to do and prevent us from
I
doing.
agree. I just think the
So-
frustration is not getting
so-
the answers back from the emails. And I think that's disrespectful, just not even saying, we don't know, let us check into it, or, you know, just something.
Excuse me, Adam Griffith sent me an email that I responded to.
I think Sharon and I both responded to that email.
So Adam he got one the day that,
Yeah.
within an hour.
We've only seen one that I know of.
That's the only one I saw.
I don't have an email.
I think she explained that it went to Mr. Provo.
No, well,
Some have-
no,
We
this is-
we received one
this is-
about
Oh,
this.
they said most of them
It
went
was
to
like
at least
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I responded.
I did as well.
But I thought you said you didn't know about it.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Well, they were,
No, I
The
didn't, that
question-
was something we needed to vote on.
the question was, did the board make a vote? And we said, no, the board has never taken a vote on this.
Yeah.
Then who gave
So
you
who
the
made
authority
the
to ban
decision?
it? Who gave the authority to ban it from the game? That's all we're asking.
What was the reason why it was not permitted to be
Honestly,
carried
I
out?
think we need to ask questions here since we're not getting some emails answered. And so, just like Shelley, that's your name, she was saying, if we're not getting responses to things that we would like to be put on the agenda, then we aren't gonna get the opportunity to ask the questions. So,
But
I
but
think
not-
I understand what you're
Not every community
saying.
member can demand that an agenda item be added.
It's a
Okay, but
mandate.
nobody
We're
was
at-
told that.
You can respond to the email back.
I personally have gotten, I think, I didn't even get I got the email from Mr. Griffith, and Sharon and Heather responded to it. I think that's the only email that I've gotten about the flag. I haven't gotten any others. So, we need to
At
take
that
a
point,
second.
I didn't know it had been banned.
I'd be happy to answer whatever questions you have, but we need to get through our meeting,
Yeah.
okay?
But again, we've asked questions of those who have the knowledge that we don't necessarily have at this point on the equal access. So let us find out what those answers are, and we will share that information.
Before we vote on anything.
I have a question. Where does the will of this community via the elected representatives end and the mandates of insurance companies and trial lawyers begin?
Can we go on?
What?
Where,
Okay.
you referenced having to check with the lawyer. You said we've got to check with the lawyer.
Well, we don't want to.
Where does the will of the voters of this community
I understand. Can you explain
and
the
the
Equal
lawyers
Access Act to me?
begin?
Can you
Sorry?
explain the Equal Access Act to me?
No.
Okay, neither can I, so let's find out. Okay,
It's
before we,
not, but
before we do
it's the
something
equal
else.
access. You said
There are ongoing lawsuits where schools
Okay.
have been sued, are being sued by individuals because they were denied access to school use and fundraising where other clubs were not.
So somebody did make a choice to tell them they can't carry the flag on the field.
That's not what I said. I
That's
said
what we're
Clearly,
asking
that's what you're.
for.
That was my
That's
original
what the
question,
original
that's what I
question
said.
was.
So
to
somebody
not
said
ask.
because of the equal access
I understand, be
laws.
smart about stuff. I understand. My original question was, who said remove it, and why was that?
The first responders flag, Mr. Kirkendall, please tell me if I'm incorrect. The first responders flag was not said, we did not ban the first responders flag.
That is correct.
I never told Roy Bruce, you cannot carry first responders flag.
So what'd you tell him?
What I asked is, why don't we focus on the American flag and other government adopted flags? That's what I asked.
So Roy Bruce, when he told them, you can't carry them, Roy Bruce is the one that made the decision?
I asked through Mr. Kirkendall, and there's some other information from questions he was getting from other students in the school. And he and I made the decision to ask Mr. Bruce to concentrate on the American flag and other adopted U.S.
So you asked him to
U.S.
okay.
adopted flags.
You asked him to tell him not to do it.
So someone explain.
That's
If you're
what
asking,
you-
if you're asking, did I ban the first responders flag? No, I did not.
No, I'm not asking you that.
So
I'm
Roy
asking
Bruce
what
did.
you just said. You said that you and Mr. Kirkendall made a decision to ask the football coach, is my understanding, the name of the person that you just said, Mr. Bruce, not to use that flag to concentrate on the American flag, which means to any subordinate, that you guys, as a whole, Mr. Kirkendall as a boss, and you as a boss, told him not to do it.
Not as a
He's
whole,
coach.
the board did
He's
not
at
make,
your mercy
the board did
to
not
work
make
with
any
him.
decisions. You were
They
playing
haven't
blame.
made the decision, they need the information.
But you said as a whole, I'm saying the board did not.
I just,
So
okay.
it's not a policy.
So you,
It's
like
not
I said,
policy.
you and Mr. Kirkendall made that decision without informing your board and asking them their opinion and letting them get their responses to know what is the equal access opportunity and what they'd be saying yes or no to. You made that decision and you told your subordinate that they could not do it. So let's just be clear on that.
I told them to concentrate,
Thank you.
please, on the American flag and not the U.S. adopted flag.
I'm sorry, take your mask down, please, so I can understand you. I cannot understand anybody, share my understand anything you said.
Sorry.
Spread out 6 feet apart, whatever. I'm not trying to get in there. I need to hear what you're
I think we
saying
talked enough.
and
It's not only
understand.
changing.
If we can't continue with business, we're gonna have to recess, okay?
That's
We have-
up to you, but that's what he said just now, and I just rephrased
And-
it.
and we
you all
are-
know it. They did, nobody but him and Mr. Kirkendall got the opportunity to say that.
We have said that we're gonna look into it, okay? That we're gonna ask our attorney if they
That's the
have
motion
found.
on the floor by Mr. Martinez.
The equal access law.
The
The attorney, because it.
How long has this flag been? I've never been to a football game to see the flag carried out.
Can
How
we
long has
move
this been
on?
going on?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay,
Mr.
motion to
Contreras
approve
has a
the,
motion on the floor.
motion to approve the use of the first responder flag by the football team. We have a first by Mike Adams. Do I have a second?
Ron, you made a motion. Could
No,
you just-
Mike did.
Yes, but you're asking to have it tabled until you.
I, since there's
I'm not
no
asking to have it
second,
tabled.
I'm sorry.
I did not ask to have it tabled.
since there is no second.
I just
want-
explained my vision, my viewpoint. That's all I did, is I explained what my decision would be, and that would be
So,
to
Mike
wait until
needs
I
to-
have info.
So then what you're asking then is for Mike to rephrase that.
No, we're looking for a second for Mike's question.
We won't.
That's it. We're waiting for a second.
Okay.
Say, since there is no second, the motion does not get voted.
Now is somebody going to ask to have it checked into?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
we're looking into it already.
Let's move on.
We're already sending
Okay.
messages.
Donations.
Hang on, so go back up. FFA field trip.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So I have a recommendation to approve the overnight field trip for the FFA students to attend the national convention held in Indianapolis, October 27th, 28th, and 29th of 2021.
We have a motion, Sharon Epps, second by Scott Carmichael. All those in favor? Passed, 7-0.
Next up, we have donations. Recommendation to approve the following donations to be used by the middle school athletic department toward the purchase of a Thunderbird mascot costume. We have Cascade Metal, $400. Carl and Marcy Cook, $300. Jay and Sandy Yoho, $100. Jared Tiemann, $100. And Adam Griffith, $20. Thank you again to middle school student Jake James for his efforts in making this purchase possible, and to all the donors for their generous support.
I have a motion, Scott Carmichael, Heather Hudson for a second. Should be an awesome mascot costume. All those in favor? Passed, 7-0.
We have a resignation, recommend to approve the resignation of Jacob Terrell as Kids Zone Assistant effective October 8th, 2021. I want to thank him for his years of service.
Do I have a motion? Ron Childress, second by Martha Marmezay. All those in favor? Passed, 7-0.
Have a recommendation to approve the hiring of Brianna Haseman as ELC Instructional Assistant effective October 19th, 2021.
Have a motion? Sharon Epps, second by Scott Carmichael. All those in favor? Passed 7-0.
Have a recommendation to approve the hiring of Ethan Deckard as a 40-hour night shift custodian. This fills the final custodial position they have open. I know Tabby has been trying to have a full crew for some time now, and we've finally got that accomplished, so I'm glad to make that recommendation.
Do I have a motion? Scott Carmichael, second by Sharon Apps. All those in favor? Passed 7-0.
Late items. We have a resignation at the middle school. Recommendation to approve the resignation of Cora Carter as 5th grade teaching assistant, effective 10/29/21. I want to thank Cora for her years of service. She's done a great job for us.
Do I have a motion? Heather Hudson. Second by Martin Marmezek. All those in favor? Passed 7-0.
Have some extracurricular recommendations. I'd like to recommend the following middle school ECA girls basketball coaches: Heather Snyder for 5th grade girls basketball, Brad Craig, 6th grade girls basketball, Roy Bruce, 5-6 volunteer, Stacy Deckard, 7th grade girls basketball, Kristen Childress, 8th grade girls basketball.
Okay, do I have a motion? Heather Hudson, second by Sharon Apps. All those in favor? All those abstain? Passed 6-0-1.
And we have ECA boys basketball coaches recommendations. We have Jared Graves, 5th grade boys basketball, Jason James, 6th grade boys basketball, Jordan Webb, 7th, 8th boys basketball, and Nathan Eckerly, 7th, 8th boys basketball. Stipend for 7th and 8th boys basketball coaches will be split between Jordan Webb and Nathan Eckerly in the amounts noted on the agenda.
Do I have a motion? Mike Adams, second by Scott Carmichael. All those in favor? Passed 7-0.
Okay, discussion information items. Principal, do you have anything to report tonight?
I just want to, again, congratulate our students of the month and thank our teachers and staff for all of their hard work.
And for me, it's a personal thank you to all the members of the community that have reached out, my staff. My wife is doing well. On October 4th, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who reached out and really kind of asked how she was doing. Really do appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and give an update right now on our COVID situation. A few weeks ago, I added a COVID dashboard to the school website. So if you go scroll down to the bottom, it says COVID dashboard. I want to keep everybody updated week by week where we are. Good news is our positive cases keep going down. Our number of quarantines keep going down. Since we started masking in September, we went from 15 positive cases down to 2 cases last week. We went down from a high of 117 quarantines in late August, early September to 0 last week. And even our symptoms, kids being sent home with COVID symptoms are going down. So that's the positive, is that we can keep more kids in school. That's what our goal is this entire time, is just to keep kids in school as much as possible. The governor did extend his executive order through the end of October, which allows us to keep using the 3-foot rule to quarantine as long as we stay masked. My recommendation is that we continue for now. to keep masked. I think we're heading in the correct direction, where hopefully we can get back to mask optional soon. I think we can hopefully revisit that at the November board meeting and see if we can make any changes at that time. Not guaranteeing any changes, but we have to wait and see what our numbers look like. I'm always cautious after breaks, because that's when we usually see spikes in cases after people have traveled. Hopefully we don't see that, but I think we're headed in the right direction right now, and I don't want to jinx anything, so I don't think we need to change anything on the policy at this point, but hopefully we can very soon. That would be my goal.
What is the standard? You said you hoped to achieve a number that will allow you to...
If we keep seeing the numbers we're seeing right now on the COVID dashboard.
What is that standard?
The numbers you see
Standard
on the COVID dashboard.
Yeah, but
There's nothing in the policy right now that takes us out of masks, but if we keep seeing the cases like they are right now on the COVID dashboard, I think we can, in the near future, be mask optional.
So the numbers right now, you're saying are good?
Yeah,
for dropping
absolutely.
masks.
Absolutely.
So then why not right now?
Because they
Because
just
this
came
is
back
when we
from
usually
break.
see spikes in cases is after we come back from breaks.
Well, maybe you drop it right now, then you revisit it, if you see the spikes.
Okay.
That's my main update.
Martha, do you have anything?
No, but I wanted to stay proactive with the masks, that's my opinion on that, and do it again in November. I've just come
Do what
from two
again?
family members, so, who are compromised, and they didn't have the masks, and we didn't have these masks indoors. I feel it's important, so I just wanted to know it's important. Lots of people.
Scott?
There are people that should.
It's my turn.
We will be
It's
here
our
after
turn.
the meeting. If you want- I'm going to stay after the
You did.
meeting. If you want to ask questions, I'll be here. Okay?
Yeah, I do now.
Heather?
I do, I have something to say. I think when you're sitting on this side of things, things are a lot different. You have to look at things differently.
Been there, done that.
You have to examine things from different points of views. And I hear you, but there are other community members as well. We are trying our best to represent everyone. There are a lot of laws and regulations. We are a public state school. There are federal laws. There are a lot of other things that have to be considered. And it's not easy to weigh all these things, but we do care, and we are carefully considering what happens.
Ron?
It should be a matter of choice. For the
Hang on,
children, whether they
it's
wear
my
a mask,
turn.
whether the parents want them to wear a mask or not. The numbers are down.
That's your opinion, though.
That's-
Other people have a different opinion.
Okay,
Well, let them have their
I took
opinion.
my mask off, Shelley, so you can hear me.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Ron.
I know this is just my opinion, this is my wording, it's only representing my viewpoint, okay? I know some of our community disagree completely with the idea that kids wearing masks in school is taking away parent choice and private rights. I'm not here to debate the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of wearing masks to protect against the virus. I have said in the past, there are experts on both sides of the aisle, and we can debate this topic until the cows come home. That is not my intention, nor my desire. In closely following activity at Eastern Green Schools, the positive cases and the quarantine numbers that are facts and not opinions, my overall intention of having kids being able to remain in school and incur fewer quarantine situations is definitely supported by the wearing of masks. Based on the rules defined by the governor on quarantines, which we follow, masking versus non-masking has allowed the number of kids required to be quarantined to drop very significantly over the weeks since September 8th, 2021. If you look at the numbers, We've had almost 400 kids prior to the masking, and we've had a lot less since, even 0 in 1 week. Okay? As I stated previously, providing classroom, in-person learning for students, and in general, being able to be around friends and others who care for them is very important to me. By asking your children to wear masks, I believe they are contributing to the success of keeping our quarantine rates very low. I ask that those who are seeking to continue the request to remove masks to look no further than the students who rely on being in school for so much more than classroom time, as those are the students who will suffer the most from extensive quarantines if we have to return to the previous quarantine rules. Thank you.
Yeah, I just, in closing, I stand where I stand, and I don't know that we can statistically say mask help or hurt. So we don't know what it would have been if we didn't wear a mask. It could have been the same. Historically, that's basically what some of the experts say. That's all I have. Okay.
You're sacrificing the kids going to breathe in order to make your numbers.
It's not about the numbers. About having 350 kids come to school and be fed twice a day. And have a place to go where you're loved and taken care of as well.
To avoid a lot of this back and forth, one thing that might help is since the COVID policies weren't mentioned anywhere in the agenda until Mr. Provo brought them up at the end, maybe we should move the participation part to after everything's done. If it's not already listed here, then you give your community the chance that if anything hasn't been answered and hasn't already been said, because we talked about this even when I was on the board, that if something's been said 15 times, you don't have to sit and listen to it again. You can shut that down. You've already heard that argument. You've already heard that discrepancy. You've already heard that opinion. But by having it the very first thing, you don't know if it's not on here whether you got a question or not. Because as the people here have stated, they didn't get some of their emails answered. Not because you didn't answer them, but because they were sent to other people and directed that way. So that might be something you could take and consider. The other thing is, I'll send my email with my other 2 questions.
I'd like to congratulate the girls varsity cross-country team for advancing to regional, as well as Will Valentine, and say good luck to Lillian and Blaze at semi-state. All right. It's recommended the meeting be adjourned at 8:33. Do I have a motion? Sharon Knapp's. Second by Ron Chivers. All those in favor? Passed